Of class 9. Today I am going to discuss about chapter tissue on request of some of the students of class 9 as Anamika, Shaima, Kumari Sanjana. So in this video I am trying to clear your doubts regarding chapter tissue, especially animal tissue. So first of all, you must need to understand the structure and functions of the plants as well as animals, because there is a quite difference between their structure and functions. Okay. So you need to first open chapter tissue, that is chapter 6 tissue, and page number I think it's 68. So let us start. There is a noticeable differences between the structure of plants and animals, because plants are stationary, that means cannot move from here anywhere from one place to another place. In fact, animals can do this. So plants need uh, to more supportive tissue or cells to withstand the adverse climatic condition or different type of climatic conditions, so that they can withstand there. But animals, in case of animals, what happens that the animals need to move from here and there in search of food, shelter, etc. So more energy is required for them. Okay. So if suppose we are human being, if we have more energy requirement, then what's happened, then we also need more oxygen supplement. For oxygen supplement, what happened, this is the function of lungs. When supply more oxygen to us, then we can get more energy, because for energy production, oxygen is must by the mitochondria. So in this way, their structure and function is quite different from each other. Another difference between animals and plants is that in the pattern of growth, the plants can grow not uniformly. That means somewhere it has more growth, but somewhere it has less growth. That means the growth is restricted to special kind of or special areas or regions. So, in plants, there are some tissues that divide continuously throughout their life, and those tissues are localized to certain areas, so such as apical or lateral. But some tissues are taking the position of permanent tissue. That means they cannot divide and take a particular function. So in this way, there are two type of tissue: permanent tissue as well as meristematic tissue. So the growth can take place non-uniformly. But in case of human being or animals, what happens, the growth is uniform type, because there is not any demarcation of dividing or non-dividing regions. So tissues must be different types in plants and animals. That's why on the basis of this complication or complex type of body design and complex type of function, the animal tissues are divided into mainly four types, such as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. So what is the epithelial tissue and what is the location? You have not to study much about this, but at least location and function you must study. Okay. So where it located? Epithelial tissues are located or in the it covers the body surfaces and lines body cavities and internal organ, such as our mouth lining and blood vessels lining, and of course our skin is covered with this type of tissues. And again, this is the epithelial tissue is again divided into simple epithelial tissue and compound type of. Okay. This is much described in the NCERT books. That's why I teach you from another book. So simple epithelial tissue is divided into squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated epithelium and glandular epithelium. All these names are mentioned in the NCERT books. So I will explain from the NCERT book. So you can see here the covering or protective tissue in the animal body are epithelium tissue, or epithelium covers most organs and cavities within the body. It also forms a barrier to keep different body systems separate. So the skin, the lining of mouth. Skin means our whole body covered with skin. So the skin is made up of epithelial tissue. And again the lining of blood vessels. Blood vessels are mainly veins and arteries. So its lining is also covered with blood vessels. Lung, alveoli and kidney tubules are all made of epithelial tissues. Okay, this is the main location. You have to learn it. So epithelial tissue cells are tightly packed. What is their structure? These are tightly packed and form a continuous sheet. They have only a small amount of cementing material between them and almost no intercellular spaces, obviously. Why it is made so? The reason is that it is the protective layer. It protects our skin as well as internal organs from injury and germs. That's why it is a continuous sheet. Anything entering or leaving the body must cross at least one layer of epithelium. As a result, the permeability of the cells of various epithelia play an important role in regulating the exchange of material between the body and the external environment, and also between different parts of the body. So regardless of the type, suppose our skin, when our skin becomes dead, what happens? It shade off. That means during the winter we can see that some scaly things from our skin is shaded off. So what is that? That is actually epithelium tissue. Okay, and new epithelium tissue is continuously growing on from their under part or under epithelium tissue. It continuously divide and the older one becomes shed off from our body. It is usually separated from the underlying tissue by an extracellular fibrous basement membrane. So it is the demarcation between extracellular fibrous basement membrane. Different epithelia show differing structure that correlate with their unique function. For example, in cells lining blood vessels or lungs, alveoli, where transportation of substances occur. That means according to their function, the epithelial cells are namely according to their functions. So, where the transportation of substances occurs through a selectively permeable surface, there is a simple flat kind of epithelium. This is called the simple squamous epithelium, or squama means scale of scale. Okay, so this is the simple squamous epithelium. You can see here, this is a flat like structure and there will be no any intercellular space between the two cells. Okay, so it is a continuous sheet of cells. And also in our cheek cell, that is in mouth cavity, the tissue is formed like this. So simple squamous epithelium cells are extremely thin and flat and form a delicate lining. The esophagus and the lining of the mouth are also covered with squamous epithelium. Esophagus, you know what is esophagus? That is the food pipe. Its lining, underlining, that means inner lining is lined with this type of tissue. And the skin which protects the body is made up of squamous epithelium. I told you just before this that our skin is also made up of squamous epithelium. skin epithelial cells are arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear, because our skin withstand in or tolerate different type of climatic or atmospheric condition. So it is arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear. Since they are wear and tear means tolerate different type of conditions, atmospheric condition, so that sometimes it becomes scratched and many things. Okay, so since they are arranged in pattern of layers, the epithelium is called stratified squamous epithelium. You can see here, sorry, you can see here, last one is stratified squamous epithelium. That is, it is a layer of cells, so many layer of cells, so it is stratified. That means it is a compound type of epithelium, correct? So you can see, according to their function, these epitheliums are named accordingly. Where absorption and secretion occurs, as in the inner lining of the intestine, tall epithelium cells are present. This columnar or pillar-like, where it is, so you can think that where it is, it may be present. Absorption and secretion mostly takes place where it is present. Sorry, where it is present, that is in the inner lining of the intestine, where absorption takes place as well as secretion takes place from that means digestive juices secreted from this, and as well as food is absorbed in the intestine. Here, so tall epithelial cells are present, that is called columnar epithelium, and it facilitates movement across the epithelial barrier. In the respiratory tract, the columnar epithelial tissue, respiratory tract means you can say it esophagus, that is the pathway of the respiration. Epithelial tissue also has cilia, which are hair-like projection on outer surfaces of the epithelial cell. These cilia can move, and their movement pushes the mucus forward to clear it. This type of epithelium is the ciliated columnar epithelium, such as it is found in our nasal cavity. Okay, and when it receives some sensation, then which sometimes we sneeze off, and the dust particles released from our nose. Next one is cuboidal epithelium. It is a cube shaped, forms the lining of the kidney tubules and ducts of salivary gland. You can see it, all the cells are cube shaped structure. Okay, that means it's a solid figure. That's why one from this side you can see only square shaped, but it is a cuboidal shaped. And where it is found? It is found in the lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary glands, where it provides mechanical support. Epithelial cells, it is the function of the cuboidal epithelium. Epithelial cells often acquire additional specialization as gland cells, which can secrete substances at the epithelial surface. Sometimes a portion of epithelial tissue folds inwards and multicellular gland is formed. This is glandular epithelium. It can be found in our salivary gland. It is present in the mouth, and of course it is in the sweat glands. And this type of glandular epithelium is present in those glands. Okay, and what is its function? It provides many type of secretory substances. You know that the salivary gland produces the digestive juices that digest our carbohydrate of the food, and of course sweat gland secretes sweat from it. Okay, and then connective tissue. So you can understand the blood is a connective tissue, and first of all you have to know that you must know that the combination of cells are called tissue. So these all epithelial tissue, it is a tissue, and 1, 2, 3, all these cells combine to form epithelial tissue. And where is located and function? I think you now come to understand all this thing. Similarly, connective tissue. It is blood is a type of connective tissue, and again bone is the connective tissue. Why it is called connective? Because it connects our body, different organs in our body. A clue is provided in the introduction. So leave this one. Now let us look at this type of tissue in some more detail. The cells of the connective tissue are loosely spaced and embedded in a intercellular matrix. Matrix means the jelly-like substances or fluid part of the tissue where the cells are embedded. So the matrix may be jelly-like, fluid, dense or rigid. The nature of matrix differs in concordance with the function of the particular connective tissue. So you know that in blood there is three types of cells, that means WBC, RBC and leukocytes. Sorry, not leukocyte, it is platelets. And again, blood has a fluid matrix called plasma, in which red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, that is WBCs, and platelets are suspended. The plasma contains proteins, salts and hormones. Blood flows and transport gases, digested food, hormones and waste materials to different parts of the body. So you can see plasma is the fluid part in which these cells are embedded. So it is blood is called a tissue because cells are embedded within the fluid matrix. Okay, and what is its function? Since it is a liquid part of and it contains all the food in liquid form, so it blood is the transportive part from one place, or we can say it in throughout our body. Another connective tissue is bone. You know that the bone is the our skeletal system is totally or completely made up of bones. So it is another type of connective tissue, but it is the hardest connective tissue, and blood is the liquid connective tissue. It forms the framework that supports the body. It also anchors the muscle and supports the main organ of the body. It is strong and non-flexible tissue. What would be the advantage of this property from bone functions? Bone cells, that is known as osteocytes, osteocytes, osteocytes are embedded in hard matrix that is composed of calcium and phosphorus compounds. Two bones can be connected to each other by another type of connective tissue that is called ligament. Okay, where two bones, that means where the joints are present, ligament is the tissue through which the two bones are connected from each other. And this tissue is very elastic or fibrous. It has considerable strength. Ligaments contain very little matrix and connect bones with bones. Tendons, it is another type of connective tissue that connects muscles to the bone and and tendons are fibrous tissue with great strength but limited flexibility. So the flexibility of ligament is more, but it is limited to the tendons. Okay, so ligament is present between the joints or between the two bones, and tendons are present or connect muscles from the bones or muscles to the bones. Okay, now another type of connective tissue, cartilage, as widespread spaced cells. The solid matrix is composed of proteins and sugars. Cartilage smoothens bone surface at the joints and is also present in the nose, ear, trachea and larynx. We can fold the cartilage of the ears, but we cannot bend the bones in our arm. Uh, think of how the two tissues are different. Areolar connective tissue is found between the skin and the muscles, around blood vessels and nerves, and in the bone marrow. It fills the space inside the organs, supports internal organs, and helps in the repair of tissue, that is areolar connective tissue. Where are fats stored in our body? You know, fat stored in adipose tissue is found below the skin and between internal organs. The cells of this tissue are filled with fat globules. Storage of the fats also lets it act as an insulator. So in this video, up to this, that means we have studied that connective tissue and epithelial tissue. Next, two are remaining, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. I will explain in my next video. Till then, thank you.